Our logo and our title were meant to be very much ominous, just like the ones that we'd seen previously in film openings. So for our logo, we had an open coffin which said Empty House Productions on the inside. We felt that gave a sense of danger and a sense of scariness, I guess, which that's what we were looking for. And other logos from different film openings and different companies definitely inspired us to do something like that.
When we were looking at previous film openings, we noticed that they tend to be quite gloomy, especially for this genre. So when Jesper scouted for locations that the one we found was perfect, it had the creaky wooden door, the staircases with spiraling, and the colour of the carpet was red, and so it matched kind of the tone and it gave an effect.
The anonymity of the person behind the door was one thing that we wanted to use for the audience to keep watching. We brought in Bartha's Enigma code so that they kept asking questions, and some of the feedback that we did get stated that they wanted to know what happened next, they wanted to know who was behind the door, but sadly for them that's where the film opening ends, so they'll find out.
The soundtrack was always planned to be quite big in the film opening, as we didn't want to have dialogue, and we felt it wasn't needed. The main protagonist was always supposed to be a generally typical moody teenager, and the soundtrack kind of helped portray that, and therefore dialogue, we felt that it would make the audience kind of get bored if you kept talking on and on. We also felt that we wanted to focus on the door, so if the dialogue just wasn't needed, that it would generally focus on the protagonist, which wasn't needed.
We feel it shows our generation as having a dark side, like the teenage generation. We definitely went for the stereotypical clothing with the jeans and the hoodie. That's something that we really wanted to establish, was that he was a stereotypical teenager, but he had quite a scary side to him in some of the shots. We definitely wanted to show him as being a little bit bored, which is also stereotypical of a teenager. Later on in the scene you can see him looking pretty much falling asleep on the sofa. I feel like that's something that brought in a very stereotypical aspect for us.
I played the protagonist in this film opening by portraying the stereotypical teenager by using blank expressions and the way in which I walked, and which was far more confident than how me as a person would usually walk. And by rummaging through the cupboards and finding nothing, even though there was food there, as a typical teenage action.
We based this film mainly around that would be shown at film festivals, and we felt that it wouldn't really go down well with the everyday fans of the big companies. This is seen through the logo, which wouldn't really tend to be seen with big companies. So we noticed this when we were filming this and we were planning ahead. We stick to film festivals rather than the big everyday film companies.
We did an online survey to determine this, and it turned out to be a film best made for 16 to 21 year olds, the initial idea of it. Because we feel it was a film made for our generation, we made the protagonist the same age as well to fuel that. We feel like it would bore people above the age of 25 at the most. I feel like this is a film made for our generation.
We use social media such as Facebook, YouTube, and this is some of the responses we got.
I like how you broke the silence with the keys. I liked hearing the sound of the keys, just something else in there other than just pure quiet, which just adds it all. I felt that it looked natural when the actor was playing when he stood up from the sofa. Instead of just neatly going away, he stumbled, and I thought, damn, when he hit the sofa, I thought that made it look just so much better. This doesn't look as staged. And I enjoyed the point that it ended, because it just reaches that point where you're like, well, I found the music to be really good. It was slow, it started building up, there was the heavy breathing, it was just like thumping in the background. You're like, okay, this is getting tense, you could feel it happening.
like the way in which you focused on the protagonist, offering a way for audiences to easily invest themselves within his journey.
I really liked it. It was full of suspense at the beginning. It became sort of more ordinary after the introduction music had finished, but I liked it.
These comments really helped us, and we learned more about the target audience despite the previous features we got before.
We used the new cameras that our school have, which they're new, quite small cameras, so we could explore more camera angles, which I feel really made the film opening dynamic. It was a huge learning curve for both me and Beth, and we definitely think the film opening came out much better than it ever could have with these cameras.
We used a lot of editing and Adobe Premiere. For starters, we used a lot of sound effects, which was quite hard to find the perfect sound effect, but at the end we did manage to find them, which helped out a lot. However, one of the other problems with when we were filming, we did most of the natural lighting, so we had to sort out the white balance, which was quite difficult at times, but it worked out fine and got some really good shots.
One thing that I learned from my preliminary task for now is that you have to plan it out. It is so necessary for you to plan, and how extensive the planning is how well the film opening comes out. So having 3 storyboards as opposed to 1 really helps to bring out the piece as a whole, and to be able to do the planning as well as the filming, you have to be able to manage your time. Time management is one of the most important things when you're making a product.
From learning from my preliminary task, I've definitely learned more as a cinematographer, as I've learned different camera shots, the angles and the composition, especially with white balance when different in the day. Normally I wouldn't know what to put,